Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the Web3 Native Podcast. Today, we continue our multi chain series with a prominent founder in the Polkadot and Kusama ecosystem, Sota from A-Star. Hello, Sota.
Hello, guys. Thank you very much for having me today. I'm super excited to be here.
Yes, and thank you so much for joining us as well. And actually, this is the second time you're joining us on the Web3 Native podcast. The last time was actually during the parachain auction periods. So
Oh,
it's
wow.
been a really long time. A lot has happened, and
Yeah,
of course, like right now, the multi-chain paradigm is all the rage, right? Everyone is talking about like the future of like multi-chain and how it will all develop. So since ASAR has also made a lot of progress, Polkadot has made a lot of progress, I've brought you back on here to give us this perspective that you have on how the entire landscape is evolving. And in a way, A-Star is in a unique position to share more about all of these trends, particularly because A-Star is already, firstly in Polkadot, but also working with the Ethereum ecosystem and connected to the Cosmos ecosystem as well. So, shall we kick off by talking about like your understanding of the conceptual comparison or differences between how Ethereum, Polkadot, Cosmos approach this multi-chain future?
got it. So, first of all, thank you for joining today. And my name is Sota Watanabe, founder of Asta Network. And Asta Network is the future of smart contract platform for multi-chain. Probably in 2021, the Solana or Avalanche is saying faster and cheaper. But for 2023, the multi-chain is coming. So that's why we are creating the future of smart contract platform for multi-chain. And we have a bunch of the layer one blockchain, as you mentioned, like Ethereum, Cosmos, Polkadot, and so on. Like Ethereum is the primary smart contract platform, but there are a lot of the limitations, such as Ethereum virtual machine, the scalability, finality, and so on, the privacy as well. And that's why Ethereum is right now really focusing on layer 2 solution. But in the future, Ethereum is going to be 2.0. The Ethereum Foundation is not saying 2.0, but there will be consensus layer and execution layer. And this architecture is very similar to Polkadot. The Polkadot has relay chain and parachain. The relay chain is the heart of the Polkadot, and the parachain is the own blockchain which has own logic. So we can say we are saying that the relay chain is like layer zero, and the parachain is layer one. So Asta network is the parachain, smart contract parachain, and that's why we are saying layer one blockchain. And the reason why we are making the future of smart contract platform on Polkadot is starting from Polkadot is Polkadot does not support smart contract functionality by design. So all people who would like to deploy something taps on the top of Polkadot needed to choose at least one parachain because relay chain, the heart of the Polkadot, does not support smart contract by design. And when it comes to smart contract, we have two virtual machine, like Ethereum virtual machine and WebAssembly. It is a little bit technical, so I would like to use analogy. So everyone knows Windows OS, and everyone's know Mac OS. So Windows OS is, very well used in a office workspace. I mean, in Mac OS is more sophisticated, but the distribution is limited compared to Windows OS. So Windows OS is widely adopted, but the Mac OS is more sophisticated in terms of the performance. Um, EVM is like Windows OS. It will be obsoleted, but it's widely used in the industry. And WebAssembly is the next virtual machine, like Mac OS. And Windows OS, sorry, the WebAssembly is developed by tech giants. So having WebAssembly means unlocking Web3 for Web2 developer because WebAssembly can support multiple languages such as JavaScript, C++, or maybe Go, and so on. So we have a two virtual machine at the same time on our layer one blockchain. So this is very unique point in a Polkadot ecosystem. And So let's get back to the comparison between Polkadot and Cosmos. So Polkadot and Cosmos interoperable project. I mean, bringing interoperability to the blockchain space by connecting a lot of the blockchain. But the huge difference between Polkadot and Cosmos is its architecture. So if you choose Cosmos, you can probably make your own layer one blockchain easily, but you have to prepare for own security from scratch. So I think big projects tend to choose Cosmos because they can create security by their own. So they have to set up validator and they have to incentivize other people to set up validator or maybe miner. I mean, so like Binance or Crypto.com and DYDX and others are using Cosmos SDK. But when it comes to Polkadot, if we connect our blockchain to Polkadot, we can ignore security because we can import the huge security from Polkadot to Asta or Polkadot to Parachain. And Polkadot has more than, I guess, a uh, roughly 10 billion variation or something like that. So our security is going to be 10 billion from day one. So this is very huge because security is the most important component, the feature we have to consider when we make layer one blockchain. And once we connect our blockchain to Polkadot, we can interact with other parachains. It's like trustless bridge. And XCM is the format of the cross-chain messaging protocol, and XCMP is the messaging passing between parachains. So XCM has been just supported by the Polkadot ecosystem. So we are opening the channel between other chain and Asta right now.
Yeah, there's a lot to digest. So allow me
Yeah.
to summarize a little bit. I think I captured the gist of like a couple of main important considerations, right? One major one is the first is of course security, and here's where you compare Ethereum and Polkadot, which are very similar in security because we are inheriting the security of the underlying either L1 or L0 in
Mhm.
Ethereum or Polkadot's case, right? As rollups or as parachains. Whereas compared to Cosmos, the security is not inherited right now. Like you're more like sovereign, you're a standalone kind of layer one. Although that's being evolved as well with things like interchain security, where you can rely more on other chains. But by and large, that is these two are a slightly different categorization. But what is different is in terms of the interoperability, right? As I understand, the Ethereum, the rollup interoperability is still being worked on, whereas Polkadot is more advanced, like with XCM, XCMP, as we have discussed, which we will go into more detail. Whereas Cosmos seems to have done a lot more work in this case with IBC. So a lot of chains are already communicating with each other in a quite a mature way, right?
Yeah.
At the same time, there's also the question of flexibility, right? I think like right now Ethereum people have to rely on the rollups to as the execution environment, and they have to build on those rollups. Whereas with Polkadot Cosmos, there is the frameworks of Substrate and the Cosmos SDK. And this gives the developer a lot of choices, right? Maybe there's something we want to go into a little bit as well, and
Yep.
like how it affects what kind of developers we're attracting in Polkadot too.
Yeah. So the difference between Polkadot and Cosmos is using Cosmos SDK, and Polkadot is using Substrate, which is like WordPress for the homepage. So you can make own blockchain by using Substrate. And Substrate is very sophisticated because Substrate does not fork. So there will be a lot of the fork, right? Like Ethereum, if we have to implement new features. But Substrate can be upgradable without any fork. So this is really good because Substrate is built on WebAssembly and written in Rust language. So there is no fork for Substrate blockchain. And also Substrate is really customizable, which means there are a lot of the palette, I mean feature, and you can import feature depending on your use case. So if you'd like to make Bitcoin, um you don't need smart contract feature, right? But you need account model palette. So you
The
have to
Yeah,
import account
UTXO.
model.
Yeah.
Yeah. UTXO, and you don't need to include smart contract. But if you would like to make like Ethereum, you have to import Ethereum virtual machine function and smart contract function and so on. Then you can customize your own blockchain. And for us, we are also customizing our blockchain. So we have Ethereum virtual machine palette and WebAssembly palette, and we created dApps staking palette. This is like we are distributing basic income for all developer. So the customizability is the key for the substrate blockchain.
Mm,
And
mm.
ecosystem is growing. A lot of the people are making a lot of the templates, and people can enjoy using a lot of the templates based on your use case or based on what you would like to realize.
Yeah, yeah. So not only is it flexible in customization, it helps with like these templates so that you can easily plug and play the different components. You don't have to
Right.
build everything from scratch or like try to like figure out which parts to fork from another layer one, right? So that should
Exactly.
help in the developer experience. Of course, leading to then the traction between the developers for each ecosystem though, it's very clear that Ethereum is still the leading one because people are
Yeah.
used to building EVM. Like you said, it's the most popular the paradigm. Whereas
Yeah.
like the more sophisticated one, we're still seeing some growth there, like a lot of activity, but it seems to be like a small focus group. Whereas for Cosmos, we do see like for example the DX, like it's the large projects thinking about moving or starting to move, like you said, Binance.com as well, going there. So why do you think this trend is developing, right? Like what do you think is going through these developers' considerations when they think about the multi-chain ecosystem or framework to join?
Yeah. So I think in the future, if we realize Web 3.0, ideally people do not know which chain they're using.
Yeah,
Ideally. But right now, a lot of the chains are isolated. So we have a lot of the silo, like Ethereum silo, Solana silo, Avalanche silo,
yeah,
Asta silo. The reason why a lot of the people, a lot of the core developer, I mean, core use cases are, you know, taking multi-chain approach or started making own blockchain is they would like to control the, their ecosystem by themselves. In let's say Ethereum goes to 2.0, and there are a lot of the roll-up solution, but it's heavily relying on Ethereum and its scalability. So as an end user perspective, it does not make sense to pay, let's say, $10 for the single transaction.
mm,
Or it extremely make harder for people to use layer two or layer one. And you have to switch MetaMask or you have to transfer the token from layer one to layer two. This makes really complicated for end users to use their product.
mm,
So like DYDX, some of the people are started making own their own blockchain. And right now, a lot of the people are deploying the same contract in a lot of the networks. And they are taking multi-chain approach. But I
mm.
think this multi-chain approach does not make sense for me because the protocol need to be connected in the protocol level, not application level. So if you, let's say Uniswap is deploying a lot of the same contract on a lot of the network, EVM network,
Mm.
but it makes super hard for people to manage their token. So let's say I'm Ethereum Uniswap user, and I need to transfer token from Ethereum to Polygon and use Uniswap. The same things can be happen in a lot of the network. So I have to switch MetaMask network, and I don't know how many token I'm managing on Polygon. I don't know how many token I'm managing on Avalanche or maybe Ethereum. So in the future, probably a lot of the token will be available on single network, and then people can enjoying swapping token or exchanging token or using Ethereum token on Asta to use DeFi or use Avalanche token on Asta use NFT. So I think this is gonna be the future. So what we would like to make is the future of smart contract platform for multi-chain. So if you deploy smart contract on our EVM environment or WebAssembly environment, you can interact with a lot of the smart contract deployed on another network. And you can use another network's token in Astar so that you can make new sophisticated DeFi or new sophisticated NFT use case and so on.
Yes, let's go there now because I think this
Yeah,
is the
sure.
new mindset for the developers, right? Like right now, it's still like as you said, quite inefficient. It's kind of like old thinking, like, oh, there's many chains. I'm gonna deploy on all these chains. But the new paradigm is actually, like you said, you don't care about which chain because you can just use the best features or what
Yeah,
features you want to use on each chain, right? And I think A-Star calls it the interoperable DApp
yeah,
concept. And you introduced a little bit of it just now, where like you can actually control right the one token just or like from different networks just from A-Star. So how does that work, right? Because I think people are used to some of the other existing systems, where for example, if I have to control a token from another network, I have to bridge the token over,
right.
right? Or I have to kind of like give permissions and like maybe I'm not able to trigger the conditions on the other chain. Whereas on Polkadot and on A-Star, things are quite different, right? On how you're able to build this interoperable dApps. So let's go into the details. Like, how is it possible? What kind of technologies underpin it?
Yeah, so we started from Polkadot ecosystem because Polkadot is more like trustless bridge. So if you deploy smart contract on Astar, obviously we are in a Polkadot ecosystem and we are one of the parachains. So we can interact with other parachains through XCM, which is the format in the XCMP, the messaging passing between parachains. So if you deploy smart contract on Astar, let's say WebAssembly environment, and you can implement function to call token from other chain to Astar. So people does not need to transfer, let's say, Akara token from Akara to Astar. So right now, people are transferring Akara token from Akara to Astar, and finally they can use Akara token, you know, in our DeFi protocol. But in the future, our DeFi protocol can call other token. Then people can use Akara token without any frictions, just one click. So I
Yeah.
think this is gonna be the future. So if you like to collateralize Akara token, just click so that we can import Akara token from Akara to Asta and use that Akara token as a collateral. So it's all about user experience. And
Yeah.
user experience for multi-chain future need to be improved. Right now we have a two step, the importing token and use token for DeFi. But
Mhm.
it will be one step.
Yeah.
Just click. Then in the backend, our smart contract import token and use it as a collateral.
Yeah.
So yeah, thanks to XCM and the XCMP, we can realize this kind of the solution.
Yes. So as you mentioned, today it is still the first case, right, where like, people are manually moving the Akala tokens over before they use it. So what needs to change from this angle, right? I understand like firstly the XCM is still being improved, like being built, right? There's a version 3 and later on more versions. And at the same time, from the developer point of view, right, how they build the smart contracts, the mindset also needs to change, right?
Yeah.
So is it like actually possible today? Is it just what the developers need to do?
Yeah, actually, it is not possible right now because XCM is just deployed and we are improving right now. And the XCMP is not realized yet. So we are saying HRMP, so which is like light version of the XCMP. So we are still, very early stage of the XCMP. So through HRMP, what we can do is just transferring another token to from other parachain to Asta and Asta to other parachain. But once XCMP is more matured, so we can implement this kind of solution. Like we can import a token from other chain to our chain without any friction, just one click, and then use it for the DeFi and purchase NFT and so on in the
Yeah.
future, but not now.
So even with this XCMP lights right now, in many other scenarios, right, in the other ecosystems, how the bridging works is also kind of complicated, right? Because firstly, you have to trust the security of the other
Yeah,
chain so that you know that if they exploit it, then they bridge it back, how this is going to work, right? Or if they somehow mint or burn it and create synthetic versions, there are problems associated with it. And also, there's an issue with the standards of the tokens, right? If I bridge it through a hub, through different bridges, there's different like wrapping and therefore different token kind of names and templates. So in this case, how is it different using XCMP Lite first?
Yeah, so I would like to explain as easy as possible because this is super technical. If you are using like bridge, generally speaking, you are locking your token on Ethereum smart contract and mint exactly the same amount on Asta or on other platform, right? And if you lock your token on Asta, you can issue the same amount of the token on Ethereum. So in the sense, we are issuing the new token, right?
Yeah.
And this token in this network is different from this token in this network. And this is the part of the reason why there are a lot of the hacks. So if you hack smart contract on Ethereum, you can issue a lot in
Yeah.
another network.
Infinitely. Yeah. And then
Yeah,
redeem. Yeah.
yeah. This is the common error we constantly have in our ecosystem. And Bridge is the hacking point right now. So we see a lot of hacking. Probably more than 10 in a last 1 or 2 year. So this is heavily this is a heavy problem we have as an industry. But the XCM and XCMP, I mean, Polkadot, I will say trustless bridge is heavily different from existing bridge. So in a Polkadot ecosystem, we are using same format of the address, and all parachain, including relay chain, are built on substrate. So we are on the same template. So if you use Akara token, it's not lock and mint. We are actually importing Akara token to Asta and exporting Asta token to Akara. And the transaction will be finalized on relay chain because we are opening the channel between other parachains. So this is not like lock and mint. We can import token from other parachain to Asta, Asta to other parachain without minting and locking any token. So our token can be used in any parachains without making another token. So this is the significant advantage in a Polkadot ecosystem. But the problem right now is if we transfer Asta token to Ethereum or if we transfer Asta token to other layer one blockchain, we have to use lock and mint.
Mm, mm. So that's
So,
that's what's being happened today, right? Because I understand A-Star is actually connected to both Ethereum and Cosmos as well.
yeah.
So how is it that is with the lock and mint model today?
Yeah, substrate blockchain is heavily defined from the Ethereum and other layer one blockchain.
Yeah.
The finality is different, consensus may be different. So it is really hard for general people to make trustless bridge. And I don't think there is a reliable trustless bridge at this moment when it comes to Polkadot and other network bridge.
Mm.
So what we would like to make is the centralized bridge, maybe at this moment, and I would like to make it decentralized step by step because it is extremely hard to make trustless bridge from day one.
Mm.
In a Polkadot ecosystem, it is trustless thanks to Polkadot architecture. But when it comes to Asta and other layer one blockchain, it is trusted model right now. And we
Mm.
have Terra. We have been working with Terra, and we are going to work with ChainSafe. ChainSafe announced Sigma, which is the new type of the bridge, and they have already bridged more than 600 million, supported by Avalanche, Polygon, and Asta, and so on. So we are going to have, I think, two bridges, Terra and ChainSafe at Sigma. And this is very opinionated
Mm.
because if you have a lot of the bridge, this is lock and mint, right? So generally
Mm.
speaking, bridge is lock and mint. And if you deploy smart contract on, let's say, if you are using Terra, you have smart contract on Asta and Ethereum. And if you are using another bridge, let's say ChainSafe, you have smart contract on Ethereum and Asta.
Mm.
This is an example. And if you breach USDT through Stellar, this USDT on Asta is different from another USDT breached by ChainSafe
Yeah.
because smart contract is different. So this makes a lot, very complicated for user to use USDT in DeFi. So that's why we are working with very limited partners. And if you would like to use USDT or USDC, you
Mm.
can use ChainSafe Bridge to bridge the USDC and use it in our ecosystem. But if you have multiple bridges, if you bring USDT from Ethereum to Asta, but you cannot probably use that USDT for the DeFi because DeFi does not support multiple USDT smart contract.
Mm. Mm.
So yeah, we are always thinking of user experience and improving. That's why we are working with selected partners. But in the future, we would like to create trustless bridge.
Yeah, yeah. How do you think that will happen, right? How just like an over conceptual way, because you've probably seen as well. Vitalik wrote about this, and he said that well, that is the reason. That's like exactly the reason why he does not believe there will be like truly cross-chain applications
Yeah.
between ecosystems. He believes in more of a clusters of applications. Ethereum, the rollups, right, between Polkadot and the parachains, between the Cosmos hub and zones. That seems to be the case that's happening today. Like you said, the challenge is another level when you want to bridge between other ecosystems. Are there early signs of some trustless solutions or like more trustless solutions that are good enough that you of course you talked about ChainSafe and Seller, but how do you think this is evolving as we proceed?
Yeah, a lot of the new use cases has been developing so far, like layer zero and chain save and so on. Yeah, I think this domain is very promising, but the risk is very huge. So we have to be careful about the bridging. But particularly agree with Vitalik, the blockchain will be isolated and there are a lot of the cluster. But if we can find a way to connect a lot of the blockchains, that's gonna be really innovative solution for the entire blockchain space. Like just like deep learning for the AI.
Mm, mm, right, that will be a breakthrough, but
Yeah,
currently not yet a solved problem. So big challenge for
yeah,
anybody out there to try to
yeah,
contribute to as well, right?
yeah. And when we say Web 3.0, whatever. So Bitcoin is not like Web 3. I mean, Bitcoin protocol is not Web 3. Like Polkadot protocol is not Web 3, right?
Mm,
In Asta protocol, I mean, blockchain is not Web 3. So we are not calling blockchain as a web. And web is simply an interface between backend, I mean, blockchain, and the user. So to realize Web 3.0, I think protocol needed to be connected and provide seamless experience for the user to realize Web 3.0. Right now, I think more than less than 1% of the population are using Web 3
mm,
because it require tech knowledge and it require um, you have to learn a lot to use Web 3 right now.
mm,
But user experience needed to be changed. If we can connect a lot of the blockchain, probably you can purchase Asta NFT by using Ethereum token or maybe Akara token, Avalanche token, Solana token, and so on. And the user is not going to know think of the friction
mm,
to use DeFi
mm,
or
mm,
NFT. I think that's gonna be the future, and we are here to realize such kind of the future.
mm,
And
mm.
that's why we are saying the future of smart contract platform for
Yeah,
marketing.
absolutely. So let's come back to this the future of
Yeah,
smart contract platform for multi-chain, and we kind of talked a bit about the interoperable dApps, and you have given some examples about it being invisible of like doesn't matter which chain you're interacting with, right? And clearly we are still a few steps away from that. And so what else is needed for us to get there, right? You talked a little bit about XCMP and XCM and how it needs to be upgraded. are there other components, right? As I understand, the developer mindset and the user experience also need to evolve to reach that future, right? And
Yeah.
how A-Star can help both developers and the users in this case as well.
Yeah, I think we have at least three things. So first thing is the developer incentive, and second thing is WebAssembly, and third thing is more real use cases. So let me explain from number one, which is developer incentive. So right now, developer is the most important human resource in the blockchain space, but developer is the most underevaluated in a blockchain space, right? Because developer is paying a lot of the cost
Yeah.
and a lot of the infrastructure cost or gas fee to develop infrastructure or maybe application. We
Mhm.
are also a infrastructure project, so we know how expensive AWS is, Microsoft Azure is.
Yeah.
So developer is paying the cost to participate in the network, but they should be rewarded. So they are losing money by making application, by making infrastructure. They can raise by using equity or maybe token, but still the incentive design is broken here. So what we would like to do is to provide a basic income from block reward based on your contribution. And the contribution can be visualized by using number of the transaction, total value locked, on-chain data. In it is transparent in the public, right? So yeah, on Asta, if you develop smart contract or infrastructure, you can get basic income. In
Mm.
the sense, you can earn token while making your product.
Yeah.
If you develop something on other network, you have to pay, and you are going to lose money by making applications. So this is gonna be a really huge difference between Asta and other parachains
Yeah.
and
Can
other
we
layer.
elaborate a little bit on that? So I think the last time we came on, we also talked about the dApp staking concept, and since then, the back then was conceptual, now it's real, right? We've
Yeah,
actually paid out a lot of these A-Star
yeah.
tokens to develop to support them. Would you like to share more about like the number of projects and how they're developing? Maybe some stories about how this basic income has supported these developers.
Yeah, we have done a lot of the experiments, and we found the problem. The problem is if we distribute constant amount of the basic income to dApps, so small number of the dApps is better for each dApps, because if we distribute constant amount and if the number of the project is small,
Mm,
the revenue per dApps is really high.
mm,
So we invented dynamic inflations. So our inflation is going to be bigger based on number of the project on our portal. So we have a portal, portal.asta.network, and a lot of the project are listed. And you can stake your token on dApps through portal. So you don't need to write code. You just click. And you can lock your token on dApps, and you can see how many tokens are locked, how many transactions they have. And based on that, we are distributing basic income for developer, not only developer but also staker, so that staker can earn token while while supporting other dApps. And it is live right now, and we have a dApps staking version 1 right now, and we are going to deploy dApps staking version 2 in coming months, probably quarter 4. And we are copying, I don't say copying, like we are implementing Apple Store for Web3. So a lot of the
mm.
project will be listed just like Apple Store, and you can stake your token on this kind of project. It's like installing an application on Apple Store. So UI and UX will be really the same, really similar. But we don't take 30% of the commission. Actually, we are distributing token to
Yeah.
develop. So we are making Apple Store for Web3 right now.
It's kind of like the ride sharing platforms, and you have incentives, and you're deciding to incentivize supply side so that there's
Yeah.
more applications, more use cases to bring in
Yep.
the users later on, right? All right.
Yeah.
You did
Indeed.
mention the three things of A Star, so should
Yeah.
we
Yeah.
go
Yeah.
to the
There are a lot
others?
of
Yeah.
but I would like to say the token
Oh,
economics, because the token economics is really, I guess, sophisticated.
yeah.
So yeah, let's say our valuation is 1 billion. So our inflation is roughly 10% per year. So we can distribute 100 million per year. And 50%, this number can be changed. 50% goes to developer. So 50 million goes to developer per year. And the more application are created, the more choices you can stake, right? So the application number of the application is increased, the amount of the token will be staked, which means there will be less circulating supply in the market. So less circulating supply in the market, but demand is increasing because number of the dApps is increasing. So price is going to be determined by demand and supply. So theoretically speaking, I needed to emphasize, theoretically speaking, the price is going up, right? So if price is going up and the valuation become 2 billion, we can distribute 200 million. So we can incentivize developer by using 100 million. Then a lot of the project comes in, a lot of the dApps are developed, a lot of the token will be locked, circulating supply is getting lower and lower.
Mm.
But the utility is getting bigger and bigger. So theoretically speaking, again, price is going up.
Yeah.
So this is very important token economics for us. And the second point is WebAssembly.
Oh,
So
sorry.
sorry.
Given we are talking about that, maybe elaborate a little bit. So the developers that get it, do you see them selling it, and therefore maybe driving it down as well? Because if they get basic income in native token, right? Do
Yeah.
they restake it? Do they use it in DeFi, right? Or,
Yeah.
because if they're just selling, then that will kind of negate the effects potentially.
Yeah, they can sell the token, but if they sell the token, this is also on-chain data and it is visualized, right? So the people tend to support legit project for the ecosystem. So I think it is not easy for the dApps project to sell token. Or probably some of the project is actually using that kind of the Asta token they earned through dApps staking, and they're using that token for purchasing their own token.
Like a buyback.
This is constant buyback power, and which is good because that token price can be goes up, and this is good for the entire ecosystem.
Mm, mm. Yes. Okay. Yes. Let's go to the
Yeah.
WebAssembly. Yes.
Uh yeah, WebAssembly is the also known as WASM. And WebAssembly is developed by big tech giants, including Google, Apple, Microsoft, Mozilla, and so on. And WebAssembly is the more sophisticated virtual machine than Ethereum virtual machine. So Ethereum virtual machine is excellent, but WebAssembly is awesome. um, According to Gavin, the founder of the Ethereum and the founder of the Polkadot, WebAssembly is the future of the smart contract. But the Ethereum virtual machine is really important right now, given that a lot of the people has already used Ethereum virtual machine, and there are a lot of the toolings around the Ethereum virtual machine.
Mm,
But the Ethereum virtual machine is very opinionated because Ethereum virtual machine comes from Bitcoin, OP code. So Bitcoin does not support smart contract,
mm,
obviously. And Ethereum virtual machine comes from OP code. So the feature is pretty limited. For example, like for loop. So if you'd like to implement for loop on EVM, you have to implement a lot. But if you'd like to do it on WebAssembly, you can reduce a lot of the codes, and the coding side can be smaller. And yeah, um, in terms of the solidity and bypass, last solidity and bypass are commonly used in an EVM environment. But in a WebAssembly environment, especially Polkadot, people are writing codes by using Rust. Rust is more strict and Rust is more secure, I would say. So a lot of the smart contract written in Rust is more secure than Solidity because the when we compile our Rust smart contract to bytecode, we can the compilers can show us a lot of the error, which may potentially affect the smart contract.
mm.
But when it comes to Solidity, it's you know it's not secure enough yet. So there are a lot of the toolings, which is the good things, but there are a lot of the limitation over there. But the problem is the last ecosystem in a Polkadot in Polkadot is that we don't have enough toolings, right?
Mm.
We don't have open. Yeah, we have an open Zeppelin, open Zeppelin for Polkadot, and we don't have Truffle. Like we don't have Ganache and so on. So this is what we are building, and our project name is Swanky. So this is all-in-one WebAssembly toolings. So it's like Truffle and Ganache
Mm.
for WebAssembly developments. So we are making it, and we are going to deliver Swanky project in coming months.
All right, improving the developer experience greatly. And I think one point to emphasize as well, you did elaborate in some of the documents around like why WebAssembly is important or more suitable for the cross-chain or multi-chain or interoperable dApps, right? Shall we
Yeah.
talk more about that?
Yeah. So when it comes to Polkadot, so WebAssembly is the original virtual machine which Polkadot support. But Parity Technologies realized that, creator of the Polkadot realized that WebAssembly smart contract is too big to be deployed. So originally speaking, WebAssembly is the default virtual machine Polkadot choose. So that's why we started making WebAssembly smart contract parachain. But as I said, the WebAssembly smart contract is too big to be deployed. So EVM is only one option right now. And that's why, Moonbeam, Astar, and other parachains are supporting EVM. And there we can see a lot of the EVM solution here. But when it comes to EVM, mainly this is just a fork project of the Ethereum. So a lot of the projects copy the ARB or Curve or maybe Uniswap, and then deploy the code on Moonbeam
Mm.
or Asta. So this is not innovative enough, and we are going to have WebAssembly, and people can make Polkadot, uh, you know, Polkadot oriented use case. And when it comes to like Ethereum and Uniswap or maybe Curve and ARB, they do not consider interoperability, right? Because they would like to do it everything in an Ethereum ecosystem. And we can see some copy and paste project, and they are forking codes, let's say on Uniswap, and deploy exactly the same code on Moonbeam or maybe Asta. And in this case, this kind of the code does not consider the interoperability from day
Mm.
one. But Polkadot has interoperability solution. So for us, we would like to make more interoperable oriented use cases on WebAssembly and on EVM. And Ethereum virtual machine is when it comes to Ethereum virtual machine, the we are making virtual layer of the EVM on the top of WebAssembly.
Mm.
So it's like uh I forgot the name, but just a moment. What is the name? Yeah, ButcherBox. So
Mm.
ButcherBox is the environment created. Let's say if you use ButcherBox, you can use Windows OS on the top of Mac. So
Mm.
what you're doing right now is creating Windows OS environment on the top of Mac,
Yeah.
right?
I see. Yeah, it's
Mm,
in a way it's kind of it reminds me of how the zero knowledge rollups are trying to then like fit some of the circuits in EVM, then translate that
right.
to the zero knowledge way, and then so that they can do the validation. And in a way, it's not meant to be that way in the original form, but
Yeah.
managed to make it work, right? So in this case
Yeah.
as well, it was not meant to be EVM, but we somehow managed to translate it.
Yeah, right. So what we are doing right now in the Polkadot ecosystem is creating an Ethereum virtual machine environment on the top of WebAssembly.
Yeah.
So the cross-chain messaging passing is a little bit difficult to use on Ethereum virtual machine. So for us, we have WebAssembly original use cases, and we can use uh, all feature of the Polkadot without any frictions in the future. Moonbeam is developing something the adapter between EVM and the other parachain,
Mm.
XCM, so which is good, but we think that WebAssembly is more suitable.
Got it, got it. Yeah, and at the same time, for developers, there is, like you said, not just forking, but also a mindset of like, how can I use these interoperable features, right? And it requires kind of designing it from day one. How do you think about this being interoperable? Part of it is also like, if I need to trigger some other or wait for some other chain to come back with some execution or some assets, there needs to be the idea of like asynchronous execution, right? So
Yeah.
that has come up in multiple times when we think about a multi-chain or cross-chain app. So what does it actually mean for developers, right? What does this asynchronous mindset include?
Um, that is tough question because right now we only have EVM solution, and our developer is not considering the multi-chain interoperability from day one. But when it comes to WebAssembly, I think the future is going to be different. And we are developing the use cases. We are developing infrastructure by considering how we can utilize XM and XMP. So I'm still on the way, and
Yeah, we're all trying to figure out. Yeah.
yeah, I'm going to figure out.
Okay.
I,
Okay.
yeah, by a lot of the experiment.
Got it. And definitely we need more experience, right? More people
Yeah,
to try out like how we can have these type of use cases. And let's go to the last bit you did mention, the third point just now.
oh, sorry, what's that?
Uh, was it the user experience part, like, and how we can make it
Oh, yeah, yeah.
seamless?
Sorry, the
Yes.
last part. Sorry, I talked a lot. So the last one is the more real use cases, especially the bear market. Like DeFi is really hard to attract user
Mm,
because people are withdrawing the asset from DeFi to exchange or DeFi to own wallet, right? So what we have to do right now is to make more real use case. So probably one of the advantage we have is the Japanese market because I'm a Japanese founder and Asta is well recognized. Probably well recognized more than Polkadot itself, even though we are under the Polkadot umbrella. So we needed to create a real enterprise level use case together with the big companies. So recently we collaborated with the one of the big advertisement company, and we collaborated with Karubi through that advertisement agency. So Karubi is well known in Asia and well known in Japan, especially. They are
oh yeah,
making
I love it too.
potato,
Yeah.
right? So they are making potato chips, which is very tasty, by the way. And Asta Farm is the application on the top of Asta, and you can stake Asta token on Asta Farm, and you can make carrot, or you can make potato, or you can make rice or something like that. And if you create potato, your potato can be exchanged with real potato chips.
Nice.
In it's a just a small experiment, but it was very huge in Japan because all people know potato chips made by Calbee, and
Yeah.
they can enjoy potato chips by staking Asta token. And if you get a potato, you can get NFT, right? So from the Calbee's perspective, they can understand who is the loyal customer
Mm,
or not by seeing NFT. So the problem right now for them is they cannot identify loyal customers. Let's say I'm eating potato chips. Just an
mm.
example, I'm not eating potato chips every day. But if I'm eating a potato chips every day, and if Shikai is eating potato chips once in a month, I'm more loyal customer, right?
Yeah.
The If we purchase at convenience store, there is no difference.
Yeah.
And it is extremely hard for Calbee to identify who is the loyal customer.
Yeah.
But by distributing NFT token to people, people has NFT on chain, so they can identify which address is loyal and which address is not. So this is new kind of the marketing stuff. And we just announced the Calbee collaboration probably 2 or 3 weeks ago,
Mm.
and there was more than 8,000 retweet or to 20,000 likes and
Mm.
so on Twitter. So yeah, it was really good. So we are going to collaborate with tech giants and big company to realize new Web3 use cases. And the great things is we prove that
Mm.
we can make use case with potato.
Yeah,
So
yeah.
why not carrot? So why not rice? Why not fish? And
Mm.
why not house? Or why not metaverse? So
Mm.
we can do a lot from here because we prove that we can do it with potato.
Mm, yeah, yeah, absolutely. Like this is exactly I've been telling a lot of founders about the digital economy and how like NFTs need to be the backbone of like all of the assets and interactions, and that's how we can bring like real users and use cases and then drive like actual adoption for Web3. Right now, it's still very speculative. And so like these kind of like everyday use cases that they are just fun and just little things and they help like just bring user a little bit closer to make people realize, oh, it's not just all like you're investing and you're trying to see token price go up and down. Yeah, I'm just taking and trying to get my potato chips or whatever it is.
And that's happy, right?
Yeah, yeah, absolutely, absolutely. So, and especially I think with different geographical communities and cultures, right? Like it's kind of a, in a way, it's the social trust that needs to be slowly built
Yeah.
with these like use cases one by one, and they see their friends using it, right? They see the companies that they recognize like engaging with Web3, and it slowly builds up the trust again.
Yeah, exactly. So building the trust is really necessary, even the blockchain is trustless or even trust free. But people choose blockchain because of the trust, and people choose which project to work with because they have trust. So trust is everywhere, even though blockchain is trust free or trustless. And
Absolutely.
we are going to increase these kind of the use cases together with the enterprises, and we are going to probably announce we are going to collaborate with very famous artist and going to issue, I think, promising NFT on the top of our star in coming 1 or 2 months.
Nice. So people better start following A Star to keep track of like all these programs, campaigns, right, and opportunities. I think it's about time to wrap up then, and
Yep.
it's a good segue given like these like use cases. Like, and would you like to give a shout out to either developers or users or like anybody in Web3? What would you like to say?
Oh yeah. So we are another bear market, and the bear market can be longer than we expected because of the macro condition and war. But I believe the power of the Web3, and we next year is going to be the year of the multi-chain. So what we have to do is just prepare for the next big wave. And once market comes back, it is going to be, you know, our biggest challenge. In Yeah, so we are super excited to see the future and create the future together with the ecosystem. In in terms of the Web3 project, the value comes from the community, and the value comes from individual. So we would like to work with top talent developer in project and individual. So if you would like to join us or work with us, please follow Twitter and Discord. Please join Discord and please check documents and feel free to reach out to me on Twitter or Telegram.
Absolutely. And of course, if you're looking for funding and support, Loghash Ventures is also here for you and would love to support more builders on A Star, Polkadot, and anybody building in a multi chain paradigm as well.
Awesome.
All right. So let's wrap it up. Right? Thank you so much again, Sota, for
Thank you very
joining
much.
us. It's such an insightful conversation.
Yeah, me too. And the stay tuned for upcoming 1 or 2 months. It's gonna be really huge.
Right. So thank you, everyone, for joining us today, and we'll see you next time.
See you next time.